We are Sports Talk 1080, the team Orlando's Tuck and O'Neill. I'm Jerry O'Neill. You guys know Mike Tuck. Obviously, you found our website where we stream our radio show. Our radio show is 3 to 7 weekday afternoons. We are at sportstalkflorida.com. And Mike, as we sit down to record this, we are closing in on the kickoff of the college football season.
It's right around the corner. I know we're all getting very excited about it now, about a month away from kickoff, and looking forward to see what the big surprises will be this year.
Well, I'm sure we'll have some. I mean, who could have forecast Johnny Manziel a year ago at this time? We didn't even know his name, let alone that he'd end up winning college football's Heisman Award.
Or unranked Notre Dame playing for a national championship. I don't think anyone saw that coming.
Bite your tongue. This Irish fan, I've been preaching that for 2 weeks.
12-0. We all saw that coming.
Whatever. Okay, now, as far as what we do know is the last 7 BCS championships have been won by an SEC team. Alabama, the 2-time reigning champion, have won 3 of the last 4. And it's pretty obvious when you look at the body of work of this conference that even in the polls that reflect at the end of the season, they're dominant in top 10, top 25. And you have to wonder, can anybody grow to catch them, or are we overlooking a conference or the top of a conference that's their equal?
Well, I don't think there's a top of the conference in America that's their equal. I think you're looking at 6 legitimately very good teams in the SEC, almost an exact repeat of last year. 2 teams I'd keep an eye on that have a chance to make it, maybe 8 pretty good teams. Vanderbilt was a bowl team last year, but I would throw out Ole Miss, and don't sleep on Missouri. They're a team that I think could bounce back this year with their schedule. Not that they're going to challenge the teams at the top of those divisions, but to me, the SEC, when half your conference is a legitimate top 25, and you have 2 or 3 others lurking in the top 25, you're still the best conference in America.
The number 2 conference in America, that's a debate that did not
That's the real debate. That's the real debate.
And it's an opinion. But I think you have to look at the top of what you see in the Pac-12. Oregon, USC, UCLA has had a resurgence. There's no question Stanford has evolved into be one of the championship programs in America. They're as heavy 1 through 4 as anybody else, maybe minus the SEC.
Wow, I thought we would have a debate. I agree with you. I think the Pac-12 is going into the season. It feels like the second best conference. I would throw in even Arizona State with a chance maybe to knock off UCLA or USC in the South as a 5th team out there. I agree with you. I think the Pac-12, because if we're going to talk about conference and strength, I think we have to start at the top and work our way down. I think depth is important, but when I look at the top of that conference, I think there are 2 teams, Stanford and Oregon, that are legit title contenders, and 2 or 3 others that might even evolve into the conversation at some point during the season.
The next best conference, in my opinion, is the Big Ten. And it's going to be interesting to see how all of this plays out. A year ago, Urban Meyer, in his first year at Ohio State, they went unbeaten. Their schedule's pretty good this year again for a big run. But beyond that, I don't think there's much doubt, in my opinion anyway. Brady Hoke has Michigan tuned. Michigan State's a solid program. Nebraska's a solid football program. It'll be interesting to see Wisconsin. Many believe Wisconsin will have a very good year this year, even though they lost Brett Bielema, leaving Wisconsin as the head coach that goes to Arkansas. And then the depth after that, it really is a deep fall, I think, after that. Penn State's the interesting story because of the penalties they've had to overcome and the loss of athletes. But I think they're going to continue to find their way and, be a challenge, if not this year, then years down the road again.
The team you forgot there was Northwestern. That was probably just a slip. I think Northwestern has a chance to even win the division this year. That is a program going up, up, up. Pat Fitzgerald's done an amazing job. I would actually go Big 12 ahead of Big 10, though, just by a little bit. It's very, very close. I'd go Big 12. The Big 12, like Ohio State is kind of the team in the Big 10 right now that's getting the national love. The Big 12 doesn't have that going into the year. They have teams that all are capable, but nobody really knows who it will be. Remember last year, no one really saw Kansas State emerge in the way they did. But when you look at Kansas State, who I think is, again, getting overlooked this year, you look at Oklahoma Oklahoma State, Texas, Baylor, and TCU. All those teams, I think, are capable of winning the Big 12. That is probably the deepest conference in America, because minus Kansas, I think everyone in that conference can play a little bit, has a chance to go to a bowl game.
It will be interesting to see how TCU rebounds after playing its first year. West Virginia as well. West Virginia was a flavor of the month team in the opening month of the season last year with Geno Smith, and yet they did a hard fall through most of the rest of the year, including in their Big 12 conference. And then I guess you'd have to look at the ACC. And on paper, it has to be better than it has been. Now, Jimbo Fisher, nobody's out-recruited this guy, and the sky's the limit for Florida State. But Virginia Tech had a really down year after a series of years where they'd lost or won no less than 10 games. You look for a rebound from Frank Beamer. But I think, the big surprise to this point, in my opinion, over the years, and you're a Miami fan, has been the disappointment of Miami's inability to show some dominance in that conference.
Well, coaching issues, going from Larry Coker to Randy Shannon wasn't a transition that really worked out for them. Now to Al Golden, we'll see how it works out. They've been dealing with the NCAA over that time. I agree. I think the ACC is almost an arguable fifth going into the year. I don't know that you can argue they're better than any of the four, and clearly I think they're better than anyone that's behind them. So I agree with that. I'd have them fit. And then I think the next debate, I would go Mountain West with a slight edge over the newly built American. I know Louisville's going to get a lot of national love, and it might be the highest ranked team. I think Boise might be just as good, if not better, than Louisville. And I think the Mountain West is probably deeper, at least top five. It's probably what you're looking at for both conferences. And then after that, you really fall off the radar with the remaining conferences in the country.
There really are some great games coming up in September. Even at the outset, we've talked about how the ACC is, either on neutral site games or on the road. Some of those are at home as well against power teams from other conferences or even from the independents like Notre Dame. So it's going to be an interesting opening month of the football season, and we are very excited about it. Plus, we'll be talking about it and UCF as well in their first year in the American Athletic Conference. Weekday afternoons, 3 to 7. It's Tuck and O'Neill. With Mike Tuck, I'm Jerry O'Neill. We're Sports Talk, 1080 The Team, Orlando.